Welcome back to Unprompted episode number. Don't even know. Don't even know. All right. Who am I with here today?
My name is Harrison. Harrison Wells.
Oh yeah. What do you do, Harrison? And what is your shit? What is your
So,
place?
what do I do for work as of now? I'm entering my senior year of college at Pace for accounting, and I'm starting my first internship this summer. Locked in,
Locked in.
secured that.
Oh yeah.
It's nerve-wracking, but it's exciting because you need that real experience in the world of work you're going into to know if you actually enjoy it or not.
Yeah.
Because I was always very unsure about what I wanted to do when I was entering college. I toured fashion schools, designing schools, as well as all of the finance and accounting schools. And I don't know, I ended up here doing this.
Don't know. Yeah. I mean, Pace is a pretty good business school, so I feel like it's a good medium. I think it's also decently connected. Not maybe the best in terms of fashion, but I think it's definitely a good place to have at least the connections. But the internship you landed, what was it like in, or like what field are you in right now?
So it's an engineering firm. It's called Centec Engineering. Shout out Dad for securing that for me.
Yeah.
The owner was his intern like 30 years ago.
Okay.
So it's kind of like guarantee. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
you worked for me. Now my son needs a job,
Yeah.
and it worked out. So I'm doing the accounting for this engineering firm. Got to drive an hour every morning, 4 days a week. It'll be calm, but we'll see how it goes.
That's a good career
I've
start.
always kind of felt that it's not what I'm meant to do. Just because I can do it doesn't mean I should be doing it.
Yeah.
It's like if you have the ability to do one of these jobs where people are more attracted to in a sense of financial means, you feel like you're kind of obligated to use that part of you to do that,
Yeah.
when that part can also be applied creatively, like to
Yeah.
creative things and things that actually bring joy and passion and foster creativity.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So would you like rather, like ideally, money aside, if you could find a creative job that would be like more fulfilling, would you leave this experience to go chase it?
I probably would if there was some form of guarantee
Yeah.
that I wouldn't be broke, struggling to pay rent 3 years, 5 years down the line.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
I feel like everyone's meant to be a creative. Like, you look at people that are wealthy now, what are they doing? They're traveling the world. They're meeting new people. They're investing in art and teaching themselves art. And I think that's like the key to human existence in a essence. It's
Yeah.
we're artful beings. We're meant to make art. We're meant to be creative.
Yeah.
And I think like the industry I'm going into diminishes that and kind of puts a halt on it. But I'm not gonna let it stop me. Like, no matter what down the line, maybe when I have some money from the job and I pay off my school loans,
Yeah, yeah.
then I'll just start making clothes in my garage or something.
Yeah, and I feel like that's definitely like how it starts for most people because like having like a creative thing as your full-time job is a luxury for many people because like you want to go for the most secure job because realistically at the end of the day you got to put food on the table, you got to pay the bills regardless. So it might not be realistic to be able to initially be as adamant about pursuing something creatively because realistically they rarely pay that well unless you're like really good at it. And sometimes it's more of just like a passion thing out. So I'm like, I don't want this to be like my full time shit, but I just have to do it. I was talking with my friend Geeta yesterday, and I was like talking about bringing more creative opportunities into the corporate space for people, and kind of giving them opportunities because people get stuck in this corporate, I guess, not like that 9 to 5 is bad because 9 to 5 I think within certain careers is relatively good and fits certain people, but bringing creative opportunities within corporate spaces, and with that, you being or going into a corporate space that you may not necessarily want to, how would you be able to, I guess, bring your passion into the space that you're working in if you can't necessarily like pursue it fully?
I guess there's levels to that. Like there's wearing niche brands that fit the work attire. Like
Yeah.
you can dress up to feel good and explore that part of yourself. Or it's you use your free time.
Yeah.
And that is a challenge because in that kind of 9 to 5 world, it eats you alive. I feel like it ages you, it breaks you. Like no one's meant to be behind a desk for 9 hours a day, 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's not what we were meant to be doing. But I feel that people people need to be doing things on their own time, even if you're exhausted, even if you're have no motivation within yourself to pursue that. It's really essential to just spend like 20 minutes drawing or a half hour playing guitar. Anything that expresses, because all these creative outlets, I feel, are ways of expressing yourself and letting your emotions out, and they allow you to think and be calm and get more in touch with who you actually are. And I think that's like why we're here, why we're on Earth, to share our creativity with one another. And the vision of that has been extremely twisted by the corporate world.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but it's the reality we live in. And there's high expectations of our youth. I think it's the older generations were very work forward. It's like you need to get a job, pay your rent, doesn't matter what it is if you enjoy it, and you do it.
Yeah.
And I think that mentality and that outlook needs to change going towards the future. And I think it has begun to change. Like, you're in a creative field. You're doing film, photography, and it's super cool. But I have a question for you, actually. When you're doing your work in this creative field, does it feel like work? Does that diminish any part of joy you get from actually doing it?
It definitely is work, as in like I still have to put forth a lot of effort. Like there's still times where I'm like sitting down at a desk for a couple of hours doing, stuff. But it's it's just like a different kind of work in the sense that it's not a draining and unwilling work. Like I'm very much more willing to put in the effort because it's gratifying not only immediately, being able to take visions and thoughts and stuff and put into a tangible product, but also just, the fact that it's a constantly creative, demanding job that forces me to challenge myself. It's like any other field of study, where it's just like, okay, like if I'm good at math, I have to constantly challenge myself to get better at math or learn the equations. If I'm going to be creative, I have to constantly challenge myself to have new ideas, study new technology, all these things. The bonus part of it is where it rarely feels like work is because of passion. And I feel like because the passion and the discipline kind of work hand in hand, that makes it rarely feel like work. Like, yeah, sometimes I'm on a film set and I'm shooting for 12 hours for a movie. And, that obviously sucks. No one wants to have a 12-hour shift. Or like I have to edit photos and I'm editing for late until 4 a.m. because I have irregular hours, and then I have to have like a social life in the morning or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's work, but I also want to make sure that I get to a point where it can also work for me. And because it's a creative field, that requires that I put so much more work and effort in, like really early on, or else, I kind of would have to succumb to pursuing, a background job just to supplant this stuff. Whereas ideally, I want the creative work that I'm putting in to be my full-time job. So it's like, it's a lot less structured, but it is work, but it doesn't feel like it all the time.
Does it ever scare you?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a very competitive field. It's a very much make it for yourself type of field. But the way I see it is there's always going to be people with ideas. There's always going to be people who need photos taken. There's always going to be people who need videos taken. Just because someone's better at you doesn't mean they can execute it like you. And so long as I'm still, putting out my ideas and everything, I feel like there's always going to be that room for me to, have, that creative outlet at least, and have, clients and stuff like that. Like obviously, I'm still, college educated. My degree is in business management, not so much in production, which gives me a foundation of, being able to, still have the option to go for like a management job or stuff like that. But primarily, the fear isn't really from not being able to make it with this. The fear is mostly from not being able to make my ideas real, and then being like, I had the option to do it and I didn't. And then now I just, I'm the only one who can really answer, look at myself at the end of the day and be like, you could have, like chased your dreams. You were one of the lucky people that had the resources to, you didn't. And why? I feel like that scares me a lot more than, not having enough money, because there'll always be money.
Right, of course. Yeah, that's really interesting that our own uniqueness can be our downfall or our greatest
Yeah.
uplifting
Yeah.
feature, characteristic.
There's so much power in allowing yourself to be yourself. It's just hard to be yourself when you usually contextualize it based on who you are in your career and who you are, and what you do in your work and all these other things, when artistic expressions aren't really who you are. They're just an expression of who you are as yourself. They're just a reflection of yourself. It's like looking into a mirror based on how you do art or creative work. And I feel like this conversation is very similar to my best friend from home in Long Island. He went to FIT and he like wants to design clothes and he wants to do all these things. And realistically, right now he's working, a decent job. He's paying his bills. He's paying off his loans. But he's still, like, in the back of his mind, knows what he wants to do. Like, he is the person who is in his garage right now making clothes or working on his branding and all these things. And it's just like, even if no one sees it at the end of the day, he's still doing it. Even if he only makes one clothing item for himself, he's still doing it. And I feel like that is so much more important than, creating like a big clothing brand or entering the market or like doing, inherently insane publicized shit. I feel like it's more just about like actually doing what your body would naturally reflect as its way of getting that artistic expression out. For people like me, I'm lucky to have it coincide with my career, but it's not a reality for everyone. And I feel like just because it's not a reality, that doesn't mean it's not a possibility. You get what I'm saying? I feel like also though, it's good to have a backup plan.
Of course.
It's definitely good to have a backup plan because, realistically, the economy is not kind to anyone, especially now. Things are not I feel like old as fuck saying this, but things aren't the same as they used to be. Prices are constantly shifting, It's definitely good to have a backup plan. Like there's kind of like the blanket of being in college where the pressure is a lot less, but, you know, you also don't want to really be dependent on that blanket. You have to kind of pick your career choice. And I feel like,
I'm definitely approaching that time as
yeah,
well. With one more year left of school, it's really forcing me to think about, whatever I'm doing here, I want to use going forward,
yeah,
which doesn't mean I have to use it the way everyone else uses it.
yeah,
It could just be a foundation of knowledge that I'll always have with me. I could always use. I could start my own business.
yeah,
But I feel like an issue with a lot of creatives today is they're not doing it for themselves.
yeah,
It's a lot of, what can I sell? What will they want? How do they view what I'm doing? And I think that's a huge issue in the creatives as more and more people are going into creative fields, is they're not aware that the only way you're ever going to feel fulfilled and actually rise in your desired profession and like whatever is by being absolutely true to yourself and revealing that through whatever art form or creative form outlet you have. And
yeah. I totally agree with that.
yeah, just a lot of people, it's like when you put on your clothes for the day, who are you thinking about? Are you thinking about yourself and how you'll feel, yourself and how you'll look to others? Or are you thinking about how others are looking at you? When in reality, it's just, I use clothes as self-expression, however I'm feeling that day. Some days I'm wearing ripped up baggy pants and beat up skating shoes. Some days I have on some cowboy boots with some boot cut jeans in a tight shirt. Like, it's fashion doesn't define a person, although, as you know, people do view you very differently and assume things based on how you dress. But fashion's just an outlet. It's
Yeah.
a way for you to express your mood, your qualities, your values. You can wear statement pieces that might say something. I mean, I even use my hair to do that. I'll get a buzz cut, I'll bleach it, and I'll write things on it. I think that as a person doing finance and accounting, fashion has been a very, very large component of how I'm maintaining who I am.
Yeah.
Because I go into my classes, no one else really looks like me. I don't think anyone else has a tattoo. No one else is wearing outfits that suggest they're more interested in fashion. Maybe they are, and that's just what they like. But I don't know. When I see the elastic cargos with a pair of Reeboks and a high school sweatshirt,
Yeah.
you feel like that's not me. It's a different type of person. Even my sister, who went into accounting, and my brother, they're very, very, very different from me.
Yeah.
Like, I could be from a different family almost. They don't even look like me.
Yeah.
But I do like them. I get along with them. But am I meant to be doing something that this person so different from me enjoys doing?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't. It's confusing. It's
Yeah.
really confusing.
I like the way that you said it's like something that you use to like kind of preserve yourself. And I definitely feel like that's like a really good way of putting it. Because it's ingrained in who you are, and if you don't care to that, just like if you don't water a tree or anything like that, it's gonna die. And when it dies, if you're letting a part of yourself die, that's when you start to really hurt yourself as a person. Yeah. So we just ran right past that 15 minutes.
That was quick.
As fuck.
Goddamn.
Yeah. So lastly, I always ask everyone this question at the end. If there's anything, it could be in the world, family, personal, career, doesn't matter. Any topic that I could pray for you about, what would it be?
My happiness. I'm not saying I don't have it now, but I think anytime I get a wish, I wish for a happy life and for good things to come. And I don't think we should be controlling much other than that.
Yeah.
We should be finding our peace and our happiness, and everything else around us will happen as it should and how the universe intends it to if we're just chasing happiness. So I would say that.
Cool. This is Unprompted. I'm with the GOAT. And check up on Harrison in like 10 minutes. You have a fucking insane. Shoot us, man.
Just y'all wait.